All right, first question. Are you ready?
Yeah,
The first thing I usually ask is people to introduce themselves.
cool. So my name is Sawyer. I am a singer-songwriter, musician, uh, and yeah, I am originally from Miami, Florida. I grew up moving around a lot and uh, lived in a bunch of different places, Boston, Tampa, Miami, lived in the UK for a bit as a kid, and then California as well. And now I am based in London in the UK. And yeah,
What made you decide to move to the UK?
I lived here as a kid and I loved it and I wanted to find a way to kind of like have an adventure and move back.
Mhm.
So I actually came and got my master's in music business. So
Mm.
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, when I transfer, I want to do music business because right now I'm doing communications.
Yeah.
So how
Where are
was
you at?
it?
Where are you studying?
I'm at community college right now, and then I'll transfer to hopefully Syracuse.
Nice.
That's what I'm thinking. But this whole project started because I did an interview with UCLA, and they said that you're gonna need to have a good resume. So yeah.
That's cool. That's sick. I love that.
Okay, Sawyer, can you share not just your musical journey, but also the personal experiences that shaped your passion for music?
Yeah. Um, so I grew up moving around a lot,
Hmm.
and was like exposed to a lot of different things and cultures and people. Um, and kind of just showed me the way that everyone experiences life and looks at life differently, and
Hmm.
everyone kind of interprets things different. And while kind of doing all this, I was also diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was 10. So like kind of both these experiences, which aren't really music related, but like I talk about a lot in my music. Um, and I feel like what that taught me is everyone has their own battles and their own struggles, and that everyone kind of handles them differently. And actually, the song that I put out called "Will This Pain Make Me Great" is kind of exactly about that. So, like, how does going through pain and hard things kind of shape us and make us better?
Looking back, what was the defining moment that made you decide to pursue music as a career despite any doubts or obstacles?
So during COVID, I was living with my grandma at her place in like central East Coast of Florida.
Hmm.
And I was living there with my family, my parents, my and my brother. Um, and we were very scared, just like most people were during COVID. And being a part of like the Crohn's and colitis community, we didn't really know how that was going to affect people with Crohn's and obviously people that are immunocompromised. We had no idea what was going to happen. So we were extremely locked down. And just before that, my grandfather had passed away to cancer. And so I just was listening to a lot of music and I was just like the feeling that music was giving me and the support it was giving me. I thought, well, why can't I make other people feel that way? Or like, how can I contribute to that
Hmm.
to help people? Um, and so like my artist name derives from my grandfather's family name, which is Sawyer. So it's kind of like an ode to him of that like timeline where I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm gonna try this out. Um, but yeah,
So, how did that decision affect your relationship with your family, friends, or your community?
Um, to be perfectly honest, everyone was extremely supportive of me. Um, there's definitely some friends that didn't understand it, and they're like, "What are you doing?
Hmm.
Like you were doing all of this other stuff," because I was studying film in school. And they're like, "Why aren't you just sticking to that? You're doing this for essentially work
Hmm.
to get ready for work." So there was like a little bit of a disconnect, but as I continued to do it, people started to be like, "Okay, yeah, like this is cool. Like I like what you're doing." But like my family's always supported me and been my biggest fan. And I really started without really telling anyone I had started making music when I was in high school. And like my family had no idea I could sing at all. And they're like, what the heck? Like, what is this? And so that was a really cool time. So yeah.
Okay, so taking that answer and moving on to the next question, what initially inspired you to put everything on the table and start singing and making music?
Yeah. So I grew up skateboarding and surfing and snowboarding and doing all those competitively. And I've always been a very competitive and passionate person. And whatever it was that I was doing, I was always giving myself like giving it 100%. Like, oh, I'm going to be a professional. Oh, I'm going to be sponsored. Oh, I'm going to do this. Like, oh, I'm going to go to the X Games.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that that really kind of transferred into how I look at music as well, where it's like, okay, I'm going to give this 100% and that's all I can do. Um, uh, so yeah, I mean, sorry, I don't know if that really answered your question,
No, it does
but
because the next question is, was there a particular moment or feeling that made you realize that this was more than a hobby?
yeah, I feel like I've never had the thought of it just being a hobby, with
Oh.
that mindset of I'm going to do this 100%, I'm going to make this work.
Hmm.
Um, So even when I was messing around in high school, it was like, oh, like I'm gonna try and make this work. And obviously, I had no idea what I was doing, and music wasn't good. Um, but I don't, with that mindset, it's just kind of always been like I'm gonna give it my all.
That's actually like good that you said that because I feel like everyone else that I've interviewed besides the one I did very recently, they've all had music, even though they've put it out, have it out as a hobby. And like whether that's I've interviewed people that are still in high school that are planning on majoring in like something completely different or are in college and majoring in something different that are literally just putting out music.
Hmm.
And I've never really had anyone who's really thought of it as a career, like is pushing that forward. Yeah, so
I'm just built different. No, I
yeah.
don't know. I've just been wired that way from a
Hmm.
kid. Like even if I was like playing basketball, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in the NBA.
Yeah.
Which obviously I was never gonna be in the NBA. I was never good enough.
Hmm.
But yeah.
But going back to what you said about being a film major, what were you planning on doing with that?
So I like specifically studied PR advertising and entertainment marketing.
Hmm.
So what a lot of stuff I was really passionate about was like trailer making and packaging films um, to be advertised to the masses. Um, and I kind of just fell out of love with it during COVID because that was kind of the middle of when I was in college. So I lost like all of the access to the studios and the collaborative spirit of it all because we were all at home
Yeah.
on Zoom. So yeah.
I feel like we're kind of in the same like wavelength because I started off doing like acting.
Mm,
And then I went to a concert and one of the people I got to interview was at that concert and I'm so happy about that. But I went to that concert and fell in love with music and was like
mm.
I'm doing something wrong. But it was crazy to me because I've had an uncle and my dad were in the music industry. And so it's funny that that didn't like correlate with me when I was younger. And then it just took like that experience to realize that I wanted to do something in the music industry.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of that was like, oh, I don't want to do what they do. Like, I'm gonna do my own thing. I don't
Oh
know if that
yeah.
was a part of it. Um, but I like that's so cool that you had your own
Mhm.
experience that made you be like, okay, I get it. I want to do the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
What
Okay.
concert was it?
It was a Laundry Day concert.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
sick. They're cool.
they are very cool. Can you walk us through the creative process from the initial idea to production and release of a song?
Yeah. So a lot of my music I write about real events and like relationships, friendships, self-reflection, and just random stuff that pops into my head on like a day to day, or it's something I see or something someone says behind me on like the tube or just walking around. But I work with these two really great producers right now, named Jay Serene and Song Higginson. And a lot of the time, Jay Serene will send me like guitar loops and just pretty guitars and it's like, oh, like here's a bunch of guitars. And then I'll take that and write little acoustics based on what I've been writing or I'll just kind of come up with it on the fly. And then we'll take that and then build it into like a proper production and add drums and bass and synths and all that. So that's what my process is.
Balancing your personal life with a music career can be tough. What sacrifices have you had to make, and how do you manage the emotional and practical challenges that come with juggling both worlds?
Yeah. I've sacrificed a lot for this dream of mine, and I'm sure a lot of artists can relate to that because you kind of have to give it all. I mean, give it your all. So I've like given up pretty serious relationships and moved to different cities and moved to a different country, not really knowing people. And I constantly am like following these little trails, and my mom calls them cookie crumbs. And you get little opportunities and you follow the cookie crumbs, and like it can lead you to a cookie or it just leads you to an empty trail of crumbs.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's just like the constant drive, and you're like constantly trying to find what you're gonna do next and the next opportunity, whether it's like a gig or a meeting or
Mm-hmm.
like a label, etc. And I feel like that's something that the average listener doesn't really understand, like how much really goes into all this.
Yeah.
And yeah, um, there's a like a I've been thrown around and put through the ringer, and then other times it's like this is all totally worth it.
Mm-hmm. Social media platforms like TikTok have become powerful tools for artists. How has your experience with social media shaped your identity as a musician?
I think social media has done a really great job of helping me conceptualize what I look like. Um, from like a visual standpoint to how I edit my videos to what I want my music to look like versus sound like.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, TikTok is such a has offered so many artists a platform, and Instagram as well, and they can allow you to reach new audiences. Um, but the only thing I do hate about these apps is just the amount of hate on them. Like people just judging artists and people. And to be an artist, you have to be very vulnerable and be comfortable with being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't understand that that's what they're doing and how much really goes into making music between like the songwriting, the production to the 20 different versions of mixes before you have your 5 to 30 versions of masters. Um, and that's like nothing, you can't make someone understand that. That's something that kind of just comes if you make music, you understand the how difficult it is to get to the final product and then put yourself out there. So it's a
Um,
love-hate with social media for sure.
okay, going in with that, have you faced any pressures or surprises from the way that audiences engage with you online?
I have pretty thick skin, so
Mm-hmm.
if there's hate, it doesn't really bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it feels great when you get people commenting, being like, "This is great," blah blah blah, and I'll have people like in the comment section being like, "Why would you say that to someone? That's so mean." And that's like the nicest thing you could ever see.
Mm-hmm.
And those people do not go unnoticed. The warriors.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't really think about it much. I kind of just do what I want to do, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, then they don't.
How has your background or environment influenced your music and artistic identity? And I know that you've said that you grew up a bunch of places, so I feel like you have a pretty good answer for this.
Yeah, I've definitely been influenced by all these different places I've lived, especially musically.
Mm-hmm.
Like living in the UK for so long, was listening to all this like UK rap, because that was what was cool when I was in school. Like Tiny Tempo was like the it person to listen to, which is so funny looking back on now. But when I was a kid living in Miami, my dad was traveling a lot for work, and he would always come back with some sort of gift, and a lot of the times it would be CDs. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember he came back from South Africa and brought home this CD called Quella by I'm gonna butcher the name, Mafi Kizolo, but it's the coolest album, and I just have such a clear memory of him driving me to the beach to go surfing and just listening to that on repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, very, very culturally inspired by a million different things from living different places.
Do you think moving around a lot and like when you finally decided, even if it was like film related, moving around a lot and not having like a place to stay, do you think affected the way that you made connections?
I don't think so. I've always stayed really close with like my closest friends from those places, which I think is the coolest thing. Like I'll play video games with them or I'll like catch up with them on FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's kind of it's given me like a nomadic spirit in a way. So I'm like, I feel like I can't be in one place for too long. So hence, like as an adult, I've lived in different places as well, like Miami, Orange County, LA, London. I don't know. I like going and doing things and seeing new things and experiencing stuff.
Okay. Music is constantly evolving. How do you envision your sound and style changing over the next few years?
Um, I think my sound is always evolving.
Mm-hmm.
I think it has a good foundation of like the music that's inspired me growing up and the music that inspired me as a teen to a young adult to where I am now. Um, so it's like I've always had that base, and then I'm always listening to new stuff and the underground stuff.
Mhm.
Um, so I think it's important to adapt and evolve your sound with what's going on in the world. But also I think it's very important to keep that sense of self, that keeps it you, you know.
Are there any new genres, themes, or collaborations that excite you that are currently happening in the music industry right now?
Yeah, I am a massive fan of Faye Webster.
Mm.
Um, I like Biba Doobie, the Marias. That whole scene is so cool. Their song that they just put out is sick. Um, I one like moment that made me realize like this is like that made it really cool is when Lil Yachty collabed with Faye Webster, and I was like, okay, Lil Yachty knows good
Mhm.
music.
Mhm.
And then he put out his album Let's Start Here, which I think is phenomenal. And then I think another collab that I thought was really cool to see was rest in peace to Mac Miller, but Mac Miller and Thundercat, their stuff's always so cool and so innovative. Um, and then other things that are super cool, like I'm a massive Dominic Fike fan. So when he collabed with Paul McCartney, that was really cool to see to get recognition from someone so great and such
Mhm.
like a niche little scene that it was at the time. Um, so like I think especially Dominic Fike doing that, and also he just recently charted with Baby Doll, I think is super exciting for our like niche scene that we have right now.
Mhm.
Um, that proves the masses would like our music.
Mhm.
Um, and I feel like we're a little shoved to the side a bit right now, but I think that that's definitely the grass is greener.
So going back to what you said, I know you said that your family was surprised when you started doing music. How do people usually react when you tell them that you're a musician?
So I always think that that question's so ironic because whenever I'm like, "Oh, I'm a musician," they're like, "Oh, what instrument do you play?" And
Oh.
I'm like, "Oh, like I can play a little bit of guitar, a little bit of bass, a little bit of piano, but I'm not great at any of them." So I'm like, "I'm a singer-songwriter." But
Mhm.
that's just always such a funny question. Like especially for a long time, I was extremely misunderstood with that and underestimated of
Mhm.
being like and of not really knowing what I was trying to do. And I think that's very fair because it didn't look like I knew what I was doing, but also that's part of the process of finding
Mhm.
it. But I think it's really funny now. Like I remember specifically like my parents' friends asked me then, they're like, "What are you doing then?" But now like those people are at my shows and they're like my biggest fans and supporters, my parents' friends, because they're like, "Oh, it's so cool. We see it now," you
Mhm.
know. But yeah.
How do you handle those perceptions and what do you wish people understood better about your journey?
I think that it takes so much time to find your path, you know.
Mhm.
Um, like it wasn't easy to get to where I am now, and there's still so much for me to experience and learn to continue to evolve as a musician and a person. And a lot, I think I grew up in a time where a lot of the musicians seemed to be blowing up overnight, and that perception was all in our heads. So we were getting very down on ourselves and we're like, well, why aren't we blowing up? Um, but I think deep down, those people weren't blowing up overnight. Like it takes a long time to build your brand, your identity, your sound, etc.
Mhm.
So it was definitely fair at the time to be like, what are you doing?
So going back to evolving, I know people have creative blocks. How do you navigate those times and what keeps you motivated to keep creating despite challenges?
Um, I think it's very important to take breaks and to
Mhm.
have other hobbies. Like I do a lot of skateboarding still. I still surf a bunch. Um, and like hanging out with my friends and kind of just taking a step back to kind of just reset. And I think to my younger self, based on that, I would just not put so much pressure on it and try
Mhm.
not to force songs because there are times where I'll write songs and they'll come out like this and it's like, okay, this is great. And other times where I'll write a verse and then the chorus won't make sense and I don't like the melodies. And when I get to those points where I get like a writer's block, I try to just like put it down, shut the computer, go do other work, go hang out with my friends, go skate.
Mhm. How do you, someone else said kind of like the exact same thing to you as making sure you have a hobby. What would you have to say for people who are like me and like music is everything and they're only focused on music.
I think it's important to step away from it. But like a hobby can be anything. Like you can knit, you can paint. Like I picked up painting.
Hmm.
It's not good. I'm not going to show you it.
Okay.
But I picked up painting to try and not put so much pressure on myself because I still do. And I'm like, I'm just going to make these paintings for myself and no one's ever going to see them. And it's just going to be full creative mode and not think about how it's going to be perceived and just kind of like be the most real and just do random stuff and not be like this has to be good.
Mhm. Okay, mental health is vital for artists. How do you care for your emotional well-being while balancing the demands of music creation, promotion, and performance?
So I think a lot of musicians and artists are going to agree with me on this, but the hardest mentally thing as in the realm of being an artist is the ups and downs, the like incredible highs and the extremely low lows. Um, but I still am not a master of this by any means, but I always think it's still very important, kind of like the last question, to step back and reflect on it and then say, when you're at your lows and say, well, what can I do to get back to that high and come back stronger than I was before? And kind of like learn from the lows because the lows are really low and it's never fun. But the highs are just so high and like the adrenaline from it all, it's like nothing else like it.
Mhm. Okay, if you could give your younger self advice about pursuing music, what would it be?
Um, I'm telling my now self and my past self to not put so much pressure on myself and kind of just roll with the punches and kind of enjoy the journey, which is
Mhm.
it's such a corny thing to say and it's such a hard thing to understand. But
Mhm.
there like moments where you can enjoy it, really try and bask in it and uh yeah, don't be too hard on yourself.
Okay, that was the last question, but we do have the personal questions, and I just noticed that there's a typo.
On which one?
When it says personal questions for, and then it says
Oh,
Ian, which is the last person I interviewed.
no worries.
So
No
I'm
worries.
sorry
I
about
was like,
that.
is Ian a different? I was like, is Ian like someone you worked with
Oh,
on
yeah.
your?
Usually, because I ask everybody the same personal question besides the one that I have highlighted red for you. But yeah, I just copy and paste it. So I apologize about that.
No, no worries. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Okay, I'm going to write down your answers because I use it to make graphics.
Okay.
Um, so if I'm looking down, I apologize.
No, no worries.
First question, top four favorite movies.
I actually hate this question.
Really?
Yeah. Um, see, I
Why?
was stumped on this one. I don't know. It's such a hard question to answer.
Hmm.
I haven't watched like a good movie in a long time. Um, and then I forget names of them. So I'll give you one.
Okay.
Growing up, I loved the movie Cool Runnings. And I don't know if you saw in the Winter Olympics that just happened, they had another Jamaican bobsled team, and I was so hyped on that. It's about the first Jamaican bobsled team. It's great.
I take all of everybody's recommendations and I watch them, so I will be watching that.
That's you're gonna have to give me their recommendations too. I'll be
Okay.
watching them.
Okay,
Um,
who are your top four favorite musicians? Unless you still
mm,
wanted to answer the first one.
no, it's fine. I
Okay.
can maybe I can go through like I need what's the app that everyone has about the movies?
Letterbox.
Letterbox. I need to just download Letterbox and sit down in my thoughts.
You do.
Um,
It will consume you, I will tell you that for sure.
I'll have to do it. Um, but so, yeah, sorry, the question next one we can go on.
You want to continue on?
Yeah, we can go to the next question if you want. That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah.
The top four favorite musicians.
This one's tough too. I hate these questions. I said right now I've always been a massive fan of Mac DeMarco since I was like maybe like 15.
Hmm.
From his early stuff was super cool. Uh, I'm a massive Western like storytelling fan. I would say Marty Robbins for that, but I also am like a massive fan of Johnny Cash and just like the storytelling side of that kind of music. Um, Dominic Fike is obviously a massive inspiration to a lot of the stuff I do. I've been a fan of him since he put out those original tapes, which was super cool to kind of like see that all grow.
Hmm.
Um, and I was a massive fan of Lil Peep as well.
Wow, I haven't heard Lil Peep in a long time.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I was so consumed by like his music for so long and like I go through like these phases and like yeah. But I also kind of think that those four kind of talk to like what I do, if that makes sense. But I also put down Jimmy Buffett because I love Jimmy Buffett. Rest in peace of Jimmy Buffett. I know
Okay.
that's five.
No, that's I've had people give me a whole list, so you're good. Okay,
I
who are your
I
top
sorry,
four?
sorry. I also added top four producers. Can I
Please
give
tell
you
me.
those? Okay. Andrew Wells, he's like the goat of producers. Sally Boy, who I'm trying to work with right now. His stuff's always so good. His personal project, the stuff he's done with Ecstasy has been phenomenal. And then I'm a sucker for these two guys, Jay Serene and Song Higginson, who I've been working on my most recent project with.
Can you say the last one again?
Song Higginson,
So,
and then Jay Serene, which is spelled
mhm,
Jaisarin.
yeah. Okay. Wait, thank you for adding this. This is so. I'm gonna start asking
Yeah.
people this. I've
I
only
was
had. Wait, go.
no, you go,
No,
go.
go. It's fine.
I was
Sorry.
gonna say I was like sitting in the park answering these today, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna shout out the boys real quick."
Yeah. No, because I've only had one other music producer on to interview, and so that's such a good category. I should have thought of this.
Let's go.
Okay.
And now I have to get credit every time you ask something.
Yeah.
Like this is Sawyer's question for you.
Mhm. Okay, who are your top four favorite bands?
I thought about this one for a long time,
Mhm.
and it always changes, but I put down the Smiths, which is never gonna change. I'm a massive fan of the Smiths. Um, Weezer. They're just like small, like folk punk rock band that I listened to in high school with all my friends who I would like skate with called Gutter Drunk. And they're no longer playing together, but their stuff's so super cool. Um, I also put the Sundays because I love the Sundays. And if I could add another one, I would put Blink 182, which is now seen as super corny now, but growing up, they're the coolest in my eyes.
Hmm. Okay, top four all-time favorite songs.
Um, I'm actually going to pull this one out of nowhere. In high school, or when I was middle school, no, I was really little, and I was a massive fan of Skrillex. So I'm going to say Scary Monsters and Nice Spirits. Um, and then Brick in the Wall by Pink Floyd. My dad and I always used to sing that together because there's like the ending part where the guy's yelling at the school children to like give them pudding.
Mhm.
I always thought that that was super goofy and silly.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know any other. I listen to so much. Maybe Folsom Prison Blues. That's a great song by Johnny Cash. Um, right now I've also been listening to a lot of Truman Sinclair. Pale Horses is a great song by him. So I'm gonna say those are my four right now.
Okay, top four favorite albums.
Oh God. Um, I don't know. This one's tough.
Okay,
Can I I need to go back to this one.
we
Uh
can go back.
okay.
If you could collaborate with any artist, living or dead, who would it be and why?
Um I feel like it would have to be Lil Peep. He inspired me so much through like a tough time and like right before I started making music. And I always loved when he did acoustic stuff. So I think to make an acoustic song with Lil Peep would be like the coolest thing ever.
Okay, what is your dream venue or festival to perform at?
My newest dream festival to perform at now is Glastonbury. After spending my time here in London, and like getting into the grassroots scenes and like the live music scene here is so alive. And that festival is just so much meaning to the country. And now I feel like so welcomed by everyone whenever we play shows and stuff. And it's like we have so much support in the city. And now it's like I want to give back to the city one day. I want to play Glastonbury. Um, but my dream venue would be the Bayfront Amphitheater in Miami.
Okay. Now, I asked this question because I feel like if I wasn't doing music or acting, I would love to be in like San Francisco and film a bunch of skaters and just make skate clip videos. So,
Hmm.
who is your favorite skater?
I mean, the San Francisco skate scene is so sick, like the hill bombing
Mhm.
and stuff. It's so cool. So growing up, my favorite skateboarder was Bob Burnquist, and he was like the legend next to Tony Hawk for like vert skateboarding and the mega ramp and stuff. And I wanted to be just like him. Like I wore all his sponsors. I even had these little glasses that he used to wear because I had to wear glasses as a kid. And I got made fun of for wearing glasses. And I was like, I'm gonna wear glasses. I'm gonna wear Bob Burnquist glasses. And he had like a mega ramp in his backyard, and I thought that was the coolest
Mhm.
thing. But now my favorite skaters got is Gabriel Summers. Um, he just put out a Thrasher part called Gabbers, and it's insane. And music is such an important thing in like video parts. And he used
Mhm.
Martha was it Martha Wainwright's Bloody Motherfucking Asshole, and that's a great song. And it
Mhm.
just like the vibe, like it's like that's a great part, and he should have won Skater of the Year.
What is your favorite part about? Wait, have you played anywhere?
Yeah, we gig all the time here in London. I used to play back in LA. We played like the Troubadour, Peppermint Club, um, a bunch of different venues in LA. And now we play twice a month here in London around the city.
Okay, what's your favorite part about being on stage?
Um, I think because if I'm not making music or like doing day job stuff, I'm like filming TikToks and posting stuff on social media. And there's just such like I feel like there's such a disconnect within whenever I do that because I feel like it's just like staged videos for people to scroll on. Versus like live music to experience it with people and see people react to it in real time and like get into it with me. And like while I'm jumping around and stuff, people are also jumping around. And to feel that connection is like nothing else. Um, and I always kind of compare performing to skateboarding or doing surfing or snowboarding, like the extreme sports, where it's like such an adrenaline rush and you can mess up at any time and you don't want to be embarrassed or anything. So it's like, oh, I could land this trick or I could fall and everyone's going to see me fall and I'm going to get hurt.
Mhm.
So I think that part of it also kind of like pushes me and that adrenaline rush is great.
Wait, this question isn't on here, but what was your first concert?
My first concert was Backstreet Boys
Really?
when I was like two,
Hmm.
because my older brother was really into the Backstreet Boys when we were really little. Um, and then like my first concert, sorry, I feel
No.
like as I got more into music, my like first concert that I was really hyped to go to
Mhm.
was Laney when I was like 13. I went with like three of my best friends.
You're good?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, because today in my mass communications class, my teacher had asked, like, do you think AI is taking over jobs? And I was kind of like taken aback because I feel like in the music industry, there's nothing like seeing music live. Like
Yeah.
that, it's such an experience within itself.
Especially like a good show, like a
Yeah.
good performer,
Hmm.
good visuals, like all of that, so much goes into it. And
Yeah.
it's like so forgotten about.
Hmm. Okay. If you weren't a musician, what do you think you'd be doing?
I don't know. I think I don't even know because I never thought I'd be a musician where I am now. Um, I used to be a surf instructor. Maybe I'd be running a surf camp or something. I don't know.
It's completely fine if you don't have
Yeah,
an answer because you would be the first person to say, like, you don't know.
cool. All
Yeah, I
first
feel
here.
like, yeah, every person I've interviewed, they've had like a backup. And I
Yeah,
don't know if it's just because like they're young and they're still in college, but yeah, you're the first person to say you don't have an answer.
I got no backup. I'm all
Yeah.
in
Like
100%.
this is the only option.
This is it.
Hmm. Who is your dream person to open for?
Um, I've been a massive fan of Ecstasy for a while. I think it'd be really cool to open for him. Um, Maybe like the Strokes. That'd be
Sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay, well, that was it.
Cool.
That was all the questions.
I hope I did
Um,
okay.